Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the webinar Student Mental Wellbeing and Performance conducted by HopeCure. On the behalf of whole HopeCure team, that is me, Shubhangi, Arushi, Shivangi, Ashwini, Abhimanyu, Siddhant, Nandini, Ayushi, Bhavika, Namika, everybody, we at HopeCure uh, are working hard so that we can bring you some interesting webinars every week with some knowledgeable experts who can give us some knowledge that will be beneficial for us in the near future and in today's world where we are undergoing this pandemic. But it is not only for the pandemic, it is also for the near future and whenever we need it. So, HopeCure, I would just like to tell something about HopeCure. HopeCure is an online mental health counseling platform providing seamless and secure access to clients globally as well as in India. Used by over 650 trusted, certified, and registered psychologists, HopeCure platform is underway HIPAA certification to ensure we mean the best process for handling client communication and medical record management, the only one in India to get this security process certification for mental health counseling so far. Our platform uses advanced tech like for confidential and secure video sessions, providing high quality communication with clients. Other than the online counseling portal, HopeCure's key features include psychological assessments, insightful blogs, and detailed descriptions about disorders. We believe in spreading awareness and encouraging more number of people to take professional help by making mental health services affordable and accessible. So this was about HopeCure. This is our site. I will be putting down the links in the chat so that people can see that. So just a little about this session and some hygiene points also, that this is a live video streaming session. Some participants are there with us on Zoom and some are on the chat. So anybody who wishes to say something or put down something, they can put it down in the chat and we will make sure that that comes to our expert and she will surely address that. Other than that, any other queries will be answered in the chat itself. So I will be taking the experience, and we would like to apologize if there is any technical error on the technical part. We apologize for that, and that is something that we can't do anything. That will be unfortunate, but we apologize firsthand on that. So now I would like to hand over to Arushi. She would be introducing us to the topic, and then we can take down it to Shivantika ma'am, who will be giving us this beautiful session. So over to Arushi.
Um, First of all, good evening, everybody. Apart from the heat that we are all facing in the pandemic, I hope all of us are doing well. So the topic for the webinar is student mental well-being and performance, which is, I think, by far the most ignored and the most attended topic. Why I say that is because ignored in the sense it feels so usual and so normal that people can't really, differentiate whether it's actually something to address to or it's just everybody feels that. But what's important is to address these in terms of, address them in the most right way and get some expert advice from somebody who's like, somebody who is as expert as Shivantika ma'am. She's been in this industry and she's been an assistant professor for BU, and she knows how this affects children in a lot of other ways. Apart from just student, performance anxiety, exam stress, there are a whole lot of other things which impact students' life and their performance. So to keep the mental health and mental well-being upright for all the students, we have our guest for the day, Dr. Shivantika Sharat. We are so glad, and with our short span of conversation that I've known her, I got to know that she is such a beautiful personality, and we're so glad that you're here, ma'am, today. She is an assistant professor, Department of Applied Psychology, Vivekanand College, University of. She is also the executive council member for National Academy of Psychology, India. She is our expert for today, and we are glad that she can share some insight on how we go about student mental well-being and improving their performance. Over to you, Shivantika. Thank you so much for being with us.
To Arushi for this very warm welcome. I would like to introduce myself as a student and teacher of psychology. That has always been how I like to be seen as. And because today's topic is basically related to student population, I think I feel all the more connected. So you already know that I am Shivantika, and I really like connecting to people and to students and to reach out to them, and that is why I'm here. Now, before I begin, can I ask all of you to do a very small activity? Just take a sheet of paper and write the alliteration of your name. Like, for example, we have Nandini here. So, Nandini alliteration could be nice Nandini, or for Shivantika, it could be like sweet Shivantika or whatever. So, can you do that quickly, all of you? And once you are done, just let me know. I don't think it would take more than 1 minute. Just think about yourself. How would you like to be introduced if you have to be introduced in just one word? And that too, beginning with the first letter of your name. All right, are we done?
I would just unmute Nandini and we can know if she's done.
Yeah. Nandini, Ayushi, anyone? It shouldn't take so much time.
So Kaneet says she's done. Ranjana says she's done.
All right.
There are a lot of people who are done. Right.
Okay, fine. Let's go ahead then. Well, I won't burden you with a lot of information because we all have been already talking about COVID-19 lockdown and the pandemic. And I'm sure you would have attended many webinars related to the psychological impact. So this is just a snapshot of how it is impacting each one of us, whether we are students or whether we are professionals, whether we are older people, whether we are children. You know, yesterday I was talking to my daughter and I asked her what was her experience or what is she currently feeling, and she said that she feels alone, she feels lonely, and she feels that she's not able to connect to her friends. So we'll find that a lot of research already has been done which shows that how much of stress, anxiety people are experiencing. Some people are also experiencing panic attacks. A lot of elderlies are experiencing existential anxiety, particularly fear of death. Many of us feel helpless, lack of control. We feel lonely because we can't go out. There is also, for some people, it manifests as anger and frustration. There is a lot of fatigue in people. There's a lot of apathy in people, lack of motivation. You know, people are having sleep problems. Some of them are experiencing sadness, and some of them are even experiencing depression. And overall, everybody is unsure about the future. So that is how, you know, I would like to understand the psychological aspect of this particular pandemic. And I think as students and also as educators, we also have to understand at the academic impact of the lockdown or of the pandemic. And here you would see, I'm sure, you know, we all are stressed about the exams, whether they are going to happen or whether they are not going to happen. For Delhi University final year students, open book examination has been announced. It is creating another set of anxiety for the students. You know, there is this information overload. There are fake news all around floating in the media. Then, you know, there is the pressure and competition never ends. So if my friend is joining a webinar or is doing a particular course, I should also do it, which leads to a lot of fatigue, particularly the Zoom fatigue or, you know, the screen time, which has increased exponentially. Then a lot of students have come up saying that they are not able to concentrate on their studies. They are not able to, you know, give time to whatever they want to do. Then a lot of students are worried about their entrance examination, which have been either postponed or cancelled altogether. So they don't really know what is there in store for them in the future. For some students who have taken financial loans to go abroad, you know, things are being postponed. So there's a lot of financial burden also that the students are experiencing. So overall, it's a situation where many of us, or rather most of us, are experiencing one problem or the other. And the problems particularly pertain to lack of control, lack of safety, and lack of structure. So I was when I was wondering what I'm going to talk in this webinar, I thought that why are we feeling so disturbed? Why are we feeling so stressed and anxious? And I realized that perhaps this pandemic has somewhere taken away the very foundations of our existence, is not fulfilling certain basic needs that we all took for granted. And when I was wondering, I found that yes, we all have that need for security and safety, and the fear of unknown is there because of the lockdown. There is fear of death. We all have lost our comfort zones. Nobody can imagine having a webinar like this, watching a live session like this, and having seminars and all kinds of things online. And there's also a significant loss of control that we have experienced. So the need to control, the need to have some degree of pattern and consistency and predictability in life, it's all gone. The need to be the decision maker in one's life. They need to feel that agentic responsibility in oneself. That is no longer there, because earlier we would know that how we are going to have a day, what's going to happen in the summer vacations, or what is going to happen beyond that. We had planned for vacations, we have planned our careers, but right now everything has been thrown haywire. Then again, another need that has been challenged very, very strongly is our need for relatedness, a need to be connected to people, a need to belong. There has been complete disruption in social life. Physical distancing has caused a lot of, social distancing too. And that is again another challenge that is coming up. And another need that we as professionals, we as students feel is the need for competence. So we all need to feel competent, that we are doing well, that we have done an exam well, or we have graduated well, or that we have a career to look forward to, or we have a particular course to look forward to. But this is a time when most of us are missing a lot of milestones. A lot of us are feeling that we might not pass or we might fail. So there is this fear of failure. There is you would find that. And also because the discourse all around is that there is a lot of unemployment and there's diminishing opportunity. So that sense of confidence that each one of us had is somewhere no longer there. I mean, it's no longer getting fulfilled. We are not getting feedbacks. We are not getting that kind of encouragement or reinforcements from all around the society, from our friends, from our teachers, from examination system. And somewhere this need for competence is also not getting fulfilled. Now, we all know that it is a troubled times, and we also know that there are no magic answers, which means that all of us are in this particular pandemic amid all this, and we have to live through it. Now, I would like all of you to do another activity. I would like you all to take a pen and paper and also create a barrier between yourself and the pen and paper. So I can just demonstrate it to you. For example, I hope I'm visible to all of you. So I have to write down something. So I have this particular diary in front of me and I have a pen. And then I'm going to create a barrier in front of me so that I'm not able to see, right? Can all of you do that? Can all of you please quickly grab a board, a cardboard, or maybe even a pillow or something which is going to obstruct your view. And if you can't find anything, I'm sure you can find your mask. So you can put your mask on your eyes so that you can't see. So create some kind of a barrier between you and the copy or the pen that you have. And then I'll ask you to write something. Is that okay with all of you?
I think that would be okay. And we're getting some answers also on that.
All right. Right, so once you're ready, just let me know. I'll ask you to write 2 statements.
Yes, there are some yeses we have received.
All right. So, what you have to do is keep the barrier in front of you and keep your pen and paper as जैसे भी आप इसको कर सकते हो hold. And then you have to write, the first thing that you have to write is your experience during this pandemic period, right? So your experience in one line, whatever your feelings have been, whatever your experience has been. And the second thing that you have to write is your major learning from this entire period, right? Don't take away the barrier. Keep it in front of you, take the paper and write it down. Once you're done, let me know. Is the obstacle bothering you? Is it disturbing you? What is it doing?
Okay, there are some done.
All right. All right. Those who have done it, can you tell me? Can you just write? How did you? What went in your mind when you were doing it? How was it?
So can I should I mute somebody, Ayushi or Nandini, and they can probably
Yeah, if they can, it would be nice. I can take that as an example and go ahead.
yes. So I've asked Ayushi to unmute. Yes, Ayushi is unmuted. So Ayushi, you can go ahead and ask. There are some people who are saying that the obstacle disturbed them little. Payal said a little. Rajiv Dekar said disturbing but did it.
All right.
Arij Khalid said that restricts you from writing with ease, not knowing where the line starts or ends.
All right. Beautiful.
And Anjana Dubey says that the obstacle was bothering me while doing the activity.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Now, what do we learn from this? Right? I think for us, this obstacle is nothing but the COVID times, the current pandemic, and the what we were writing is like living our lives. And we all know that this is something which is given to us. This is something which is the reality right now, and it is better to accept it, and it is better to make our ways around it, maneuver and negotiate our ways through it, rather than trying to just remove the obstacle because it can't be done. So that was precisely why I wanted you all to do this particular activity. I'll take it up later on. Now, if I ask you what is your Corona time story, which you have particularly written perhaps in your in this statement, I have asked you that what is your what has been your experience and what has been your major learning. Can I just have one response from that?
Yes, I unmuted Ayushi and she can probably give you.
Ayushi, are you there?
Yes, she is. I've unmuted her. Ayushi, we can't hear you. I think we can't hear Ayushi. Should we take Shivangi? Shivangi, you can unmute and we can take you there. Yeah, we have Shivangi, ma'am.
Okay, so my experience during this time is, of course, I feel very restricted, and I feel like I'm not able to perform to the best of my ability because I like socializing, I like going out, meeting people, and that makes me more creative, makes me more like perform better, I think.
Right.
What I would have learned is definitely patience, because when you're at home, things go very slow. Even if you're trying to work from home, it's distanced learning. So it will not work at the pace you would want it to work at. So patience is something I've learned.
All right. Nice, very beautiful. So that brings me to the notion of single story and multiple stories, right? Now, what I heard from what Shivangi was saying is that she's not able to perform up to the level, or she's not very satisfied, or maybe she's not able to give her best. So I think that is one thing which is being told to us again and again, that how our performance is going down, or how we are no longer that good student, or someone who is a more productive person, etc., etc. And most of us, when we talk about the pandemic and the current situations, we talk about in terms of the problems. We talk about in terms of what is not working, right? Which is called problem saturated description, which I have borrowed from narrative therapy and solution focused brief therapy, because these are some therapeutic approaches that focus on mostly the positive and the solution, rather than looking at only the problems. Now, all around we see you're talking to phone with somebody, you're listening to news, or you're watching news, or you are on social media. Again and again, there are messages which are somewhere spreading the sense of loss, the sense of stress, pain, being trapped, not being able to do what I want to do, being a waste. How this, I just recently read a WhatsApp post stated that I'm not counting this year for my birthday because I did not do anything. It was a waste. Now it was surprising, because so that means you're looking at this particular reality, the entire pandemic, from the lens of the problem. However, it is also important to see that we can see it from the lens of other lenses or other perspectives as well. So rather than looking at it as a single story of loss, of grief, of sadness, of death, of stress, of anxiety, of panic, of uncertainty, it's important to see that there's this story of not just academics or doing well in life, but also learning life skills, but also, adjustment to the major changes that are happening, of also healing, of also growing, of also serving the people, of also knowing how to smile in difficult circumstances, of resilience, of hope. So that is where the importance of solution focused stories, or solution focused way of looking at our life comes in. And I think for many of us, and that is why the second question I asked was, what was your major learning? And this is one question that I've been asking most of the people during these times, because it really intrigues me that what are people learning from this time? So it's a time to learn. It's a time to pause and reflect. It's a time to go within. Time of getting resilient. It's a time of grit. It's a time of kindness. It's a time where can create multiple stories of in our lives, of helping others, of growing, of learning to cook, of doing something for the family, of creating some crafts or artifacts or whatever it is. So my question to all of you is, what is your preferred story? And this is where it is important to understand that when I know what's my preferred story, I know that my story has not been told by the media. My story has not been told by the politicians who are making crazy decisions these days. My story is not being guided by or dictated by the authorities like the vice chancellor or the UGC or the principal or the teacher. My story is not something which is being dictated by society, where worth is always seen in terms of productivity or success or career, or there's a timeline of doing everything, where it is not being told to us by our family that, no, this is how you should be. This is the time you should get up in the morning. This is the time you should have your dinner. So everything, when I am saying that this is my story and I need to reclaim my story, it's important in that sense that I need to be the author of my own story. So it's important to understand that what is my preferred story? How would I like to look back during these times and see that what is how I lived my life? Nobody is going to ask you what grades you got during this particular pandemic. There was a recent video of your older self talking to your future self, and your future self talking to your older self. Look at it from that perspective. When people say that post-COVID times, what are you going to tell your children or grandchildren, for example, in my case? How did I live my life? I won't say that how well I did, but I am going to say that how well I lived. So that is something which is extremely important. And I think it is also important to understand that we need to be the author of our own book of stories. Now, I've written one line here that single story is dangerous. Why is single story dangerous? Because it brings in a lot of judgments. When I say that I am doing well academically or I am a high achiever, it's a single story, right? Now, I would like to give reference to the alliteration task that we did. And I'm sure all of you would have mentioned something. Can I have one or two examples from there?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am, surely.
There are few people who have written, and I was just about to tell you. So, we have Payal Thakur who said, I don't like sitting at home. I wanted to do more and more.
All right. Yeah. Any example from the alliteration task, how they have defined themselves?
Right.
Yes, ma'am. There is Anjana Dubey who said that I am a socializing person, and
So,
she said coping with my anger.
okay, so I am a socializing person coping with my anger. Now, in this case, what we see is that the two things that are coming right away is that you are a socializing person, you're not able to socialize, and perhaps that is the reason you're feeling frustrated or you're feeling angry. I don't know whether it's right, I'm just guessing, right? Now, what happens is that because we look at ourselves in a particular way, because we are told to look at ourselves in a particular way, we're never told that, we can have different ways of looking at our own self. When there is a single story, like for example, you have to be a good girl, or you have to, or for that matter, I am gay, or I am aggressive, or anything of that sort. It is all the things that are told to us from all around the environment, from our parents, from our friends, from our significant others, and we tend to internalize them, and that becomes a single story. But what happens is that, and recently, the racism that is going on in the entire world, it's all the problem of single story, because we look at people through that single lens. It creates a lot of prejudice, it creates a lot of discrimination, it creates a lot of judgments, not just judgments from others, but judgments from even our own self. And that is why we have to break the notion of the single story. And how can we break the notion of a single story? Now, here I had written one thing, that no problem is perfect, right? Now, this is extremely important to understand that nobody is perfect, neither are problems nor are solutions. So when problem is not perfect, which means that I can always look for certain loopholes, certain cracks in the problem where I can seep my way in and I can find the solution, right? So that is where the whole thing about looking for exceptions comes in, where the task is to look back at your previous experiences of dealing with crisis or handling some kind of loss, handling problems, because all of us have been through some or the other kind of crisis in life. And all of us today are on this site, which means that we have been able to take care of that crisis in some way. So what we have to do is find out what works, right? So I won't ask you to do this activity right now, but maybe later on you can reflect at your past, how you have maybe, for example, dealt with a breakup. How have you dealt with the separation with a friend, or how have you dealt with poor grades? How have you dealt with dropping a year or two and being labeled as failure? There are a lot of things that we have already been through, seen and recovered from there. So we have to see that what are the skills that I have used in the past that might help me in the present to manage the present set of adversities. People are saying that if you're living through this time, if you're living through this time with a smile on a face, you're already resilient, which means that there is that strength in each one of us to, to build our lives on those strengths or on those skills, and that is extremely important in the current times. Now, this again brings me to the famous quotation, what you resist persists. I have told this to all my students. I'm sure all of you would be knowing that. So what I'm trying here to say is that we don't have to resist corona crisis. We don't have to resist pandemic. We don't have to resist lockdown. And for me, feel that acceptance is the key, right? So most of us, when you did that obstacle activity, you had mentioned that, you found it difficult. It wasn't something which was very easy, but you still managed to write it. Some of you were concerned that whether I'm writing in the straight line or not. Now, the whole question is that the straight line symbolizes a kind of norms and rules that we all have created. Now the situation is such that we can't write in straight lines. It is because there is a kind of barrier or obstacle in front of us. So we have to change the rules of our life. We have to move towards the new normal, right? And that is what everybody is talking about. So the emphasis that I want to really make today is that we need to accept and adapt. Acceptance doesn't mean approval. So I'm not saying whatever is being done all around us, I'm approving of that. It doesn't mean agreement. When I say accept and adapt, it means that I am not liking this situation. I am hating this situation, but I have to live with it. And if I have to live with it, I must develop certain skills, certain ways of handling this situation, of going beyond this situation. If I keep worrying about reclaiming my past self, reclaiming my older self, अच्छा बर्थडे ऐसे सेलिब्रेट करते थे, शादियां ऐसे होती थी, पढ़ाई ऐसे होती थी, एग्जाम ऐसे होता था, करियर ऐसे होता था, शॉपिंग ऐसे होती थी, we can't do that because it is a new normal that we have arrived at, and therefore it is important to mourn the loss. I'm not saying don't be sad. We will be sad because what we had was cherished, what we had was important and valued, but it is also important to reinvent ourselves, to mourn the loss, yet to move forward, right? Now, again, as I always say, that the choice is yours. So when I hear people talking, a lot of the times, people are talking about everything bad and how they are despising. So they can despise and they can be sad and then they can be depressed and then they can have other mental health problems. Or you can adapt, you can change, you can heal and evolve, right? And this is the choice that all of us right now have. A lot of us, when you talk to the people, they have started doing so many things to adapt to the present circumstances. And how to adapt in a healthy way to the present circumstances is what I'm going to focus now. So before that, again, we'll give you this small, does anyone have a question?
Yeah, I just
Yes,
wanted to. There are some beautiful alliterations that we have from the audience. So
Yeah.
I just thought that we can acknowledge these. We have kind Kaneez from Kaneez, hardworking Harshita,
Yeah,
perfect Payal,
right,
sincere Simran,
right,
affectionate Anisha.
right. I'm glad all of you have mentioned such positive adjectives for your own self. You are
Yes,
looking
we
at
have some
yourself.
more also. There are natural Nandini, interesting in Ephantia, bold Sonal, vibrant Vishali, vulnerable Mansi,
Okay, all right. Yeah, we all are vulnerable.
marvelous
So
Mehul.
vulnerability is the strength. Yeah, fine. So,
And
yeah.
there are some questions. We have a question from Vishali Prithi, and she says, "Ma'am, could you tell us some ways to prevent procrastination during this pandemic?"
All right, we'll come to that. I'm sure when I have discussed some of these strategies, this question would be answered. So I'll take this particular question of procrastination maybe while I'm dealing with that slide. Any other question deals with the things that I've already talked about?
Uh,
Yes, ma'am.
yes.
There is one. Mostly, it's about. I think most of them are concerned about the procrastination.
All right.
Also, which I mentioned earlier, Payal Thakur mentioned that she doesn't like sitting home and she wants to do more and more.
Right. All right.
So if you can help her with that.
Yeah, sure. I'll come to that. Payal and the other people who have asked these kinds of questions, I think your question would be answered if you know that what is there in your control and what is not there in your control. I'm sure all of you would be aware of this circle of concern and a circle of influence. So I'm sure if you're having this sheet of paper in front of you, can you draw a circle and write all the things that are concerning you? Like, for example, Payal, you said that you cannot sit at home or that you would want to do more. Or Shivangi said that she's not able to do to the best of her ability. Or people say that, they have not been able to socialize and meet people. It is causing a lot of anger. So all these will come under the circle of concern. So for you as a person, as a student, as a citizen of India, or as many identities you want to take up, what are the concerns that are bothering you? Can you just take a minute to write them down? So draw a circle, and in that circle, now it's everything that is causing concern in you.
Ayushi has something to say.
Okay,
Ayushi, you can ask.
Yes, one muted her. Some problems. Ayushi's voice is not reaching us.
Ayushi, you can WhatsApp me. I'll see on the message.
You can put it down on the chat also.
You can put it on the chat, Ayushi. We can. Okay. So Nandini is asking, what if we actually liking this better than the previous time? Is it a thing to be concerned about, since this pause from everything is something I am enjoying? That's what she's asking.
Glad somebody mentioned it. You know, when this lockdown happened, that is the first thing I told my friend, that this lockdown is a kind of a paradise for introverts. So no going out, being in your shell, doing what you really like, you know, all that. So it's not a problem if it's helping you cope well, if it's helping you remain functional, if it is helping you remain happy. It's all right. It's completely all right. And I think it is a time to for all of us to rejuvenate. Like, you know, you'll find all everywhere the message that it is a time for the nature to heal, for people to take pause and look within, because before the lockdown each one of us complained of lack of time. Each one of said that, you know, how rushed we are from morning till evening, how we also want to go on a vacation, how we so want to sleep the entire Saturday and Sunday without having to do the laundry or without having to go to shopping or socializing, etc., etc. Now you are being blessed with that. So since you are blessed with that, enjoy it.
Yes, ma'am, we have another question. She says, Anisha Bara, she said, how to persevere in difficult situation when it seems no way out.
How to persist in difficult situations when
As how to persevere
persevere, okay, in difficult situation when there is no
when
way
it
out.
seems,
Now you've
yes,
answered
when
the
it seems
question
no way out.
yourself. When there is no way out, you have to persist. There is no other way out but persisting, right? So it's like you hold on to something which is within you, which is going to tell you that the question that you're saying is that there's no way out. How do I persist? This question that is coming, just look within and try to relate to that part of yourself which is asking this question: how do I persist? And I'm sure you would get the answer how you could persevere or how you could persist, right? Because I believe that this is the time when you need to discover the strengths that are there within you, everything that you were not able to give importance to, because you know most of the times we are living a very very external life, polishing ourselves, looking good and everything, and we'd hardly have time to spend with our own self, that little baby inside us which needs love, which needs care, which needs acknowledgement, which needs to be nurtured and fostered. It is a time when you can do that. And if you would do that, I'm sure you would find a way to persevere. If you believe in divine, if you believe in God, if you believe in some higher power, you would get your way through that. If not, if you, I'm sure you would believe in something. And from that belief, you can draw that strength to go on.
We have somebody else also. Mehul Dudeja says that even I am liking it because I'm working on my spell. I am working on myself, spending time with family and doing gardening.
Right. A lot of us are finding joy in gardening. Mehul, if I remember you, you are an ex-student and you would be happy to know that even a lot of our colleagues are doing gardening, and they are really liking it because they say that the joy of nurturing a plant is unmatchable. So they see every day, you know, how that plant 3 months पहले जो plant किया था उसमें अब कैसे कैसे flower आ गया या leaf आ गया या क्या हो गया, you know, and they're decorating, they're using different kinds of props in their gardens to make it more attractive, and they click pictures and they send to us. So this is actually, you know, a lot of us who are not able to give attention to many of our hobbies are now able to do that. We are able to discover new aspects of our own self. So I think in that way also this is a blessing in disguise.
Yes, we see Anjana Dubey also agreeing with you, ma'am. Vishali Preeti is also agreeing. They are very much on the same page, and they say exactly, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. So then can we move on to this circle of influence and circle of concern? Have you drawn that circle of concern and have you written down your concerns?
Hello.
Yes.
Good evening, ma'am. Ayushi this side.
Yeah, Aishi?
Now I'm assuming I'm audible.
Yes, but you're not visible.
Acha, okay. Okay, so my question is that you know, this is the time all of us. For example, if on personal front I ask, I really want to achieve. I don't know. I feel this is the time where you can, you know, be more competent. You can gain more skills because I think the particular time is not going to repeat. That's
Yeah.
what I think. This is how I am utilizing my time. But what I feel is, you know, somewhere down the line, I am just you, kind of stressed about one thing, that how to, you know, get rid of this uncertainty. You know, this uncertainty is actually, you know, giving this. If I just talk about myself, it's giving lot of pressure on my brain and how I deal with things, and this uncertainty somewhere is, you know, making me more vulnerable to a lot of problems, if I say.
Yeah.
So how to deal with it, and you know, how to I mean, what should I do basically?
All right. So if I take this example of uncertainty as being the concern that I have, so it comes in my circle of concern. Now, the question that I would like to ask to decode this uncertainty is, what is this uncertainty about? Is it about future? Is it about career? Is it about the health of the near and dear ones? Is it about my own self? What is it about? So
It's
we'll have
about
to, yeah.
it's about everything. It's about, for example, I really want to meet my friends. I really want to move out. I
Yeah.
really want to do the little things. You know, I understand. I accepted the thing that now the normal news, the concept that you just introduced about the normal news. I'll be okay having a mask, covering myself, having a lot of sanitizers in my pocket. All that I understand, but you know, somewhere I'm just I'm still stuck with that thought of uncertainty. Then you know, we expect a lot. Like,
Yeah.
कैसे normal होगा वो सब? Even if हम उसको accept कर रहे हैं, but still we have this thought कि वो सब कब normal होगा?
See, आयुषी, मुझे लगता है कि नॉर्मल नहीं होगा जिस तरीके से हम नॉर्मल को देख रहे हैं, क्योंकि हम नॉर्मल को तो अपने पास से कंपेयर करके देख रहे हैं कि ये नॉर्मल था, बट अब ये नॉर्मल नहीं है. किसी ने सोचा भी नहीं था कि 5 लोग के साथ शादी हो जाती है. मतलब हमारे यहाँ तो 500 लोग जाते हैं बारात में. Now, so we have to, this is what acceptance exactly means, that I know that perhaps in a long time to come, maybe for the next 2-3 years, we won't have get-togethers as we used to have. Now, what are the different creative ways in which I can do what I want to do, yet not violate the norms or live according to the new normal? And that is why I am asking you for this circle of influence and circle of control and circle of concern. Many of the things that are bothering us in our head are things that are not really in our control. We don't know when the lockdown is going to continue, or whether it is going to be reimposed, or whether, you know, the hospitals will be open to only Delhi people or other people also, whether, you know, the antibiotic or whatever, the drug is going to come or not. You know, there's so many things that we really don't know. We can't bother about that. It is outside our circle of control. But there are things that is within our circle of control. Like, for example, I can to some extent have some degree of prediction about my day. So if I'm saying unsurety, instability is disturbing me, I'm feeling that, there is a lot of unsurety around me. And I make sure that what I decided to do, I do it on a daily basis. If I can do that, yes, I'll feel a sense of accomplishment. I'll feel a sense of competence. I'll feel a sense of achievement. I'll also feel a sense of being in control, right? So that is what we need to do. We need to see that what all is there within our circle of control, what all is there within a circle of influence. Like, for example, you're saying that you really want to go out and talk to people or connect to people, and a lot of us are troubled because of that. And that could be there in your circle of influence, because you can call people, ring them up, arrange for Zoom parties where everyone can come dressed up and have the parties and celebrations. I would like here to mention that, the second years in our college had the farewells weren't happening, and they came up with such a wonderful way of giving the farewells to the third years, where they asked all the teachers to speak for them, where they made an entire website for them, where they did even dance and songs and everything that they used to do in any farewell party. It was all recorded and placed on the website. And then they had, the titles and everything. So everything was done. Nothing was left, but the only thing is that it was done through the technology mediated platform. But there was a touch of emotion. There was a touch of connection. There was this sense. And, when we had to bid them farewell, when I had the last class with my students, I dressed up because I wanted to make it special for me and for my students, that yes, today is the day, but as I'm teaching these students for the last time, let me dress up, let me make myself happy and them happy, right? So it's not about, so it was under my control. Going and meeting them is not under my control. But yes, what is in my control, I would try to control. So for you, for example, where can you influence? You can influence, perhaps, you along with your set of friends can say that, okay, fine, we'll watch this movie together. And then you can have a movie party, a Zoom movie party, and then you can have a discussion, you can have, you can talk, you can chat. It can be done. People are doing that. So that is where we need to just shift the way we are doing things and try to see that we are not just thinking about things that are beyond our control, but try to see that what is within our control, one I can do, one that I can influence others to do, right? And once you see those possibilities manifesting, it would be really beautiful, right?
Yes,
So
Similarly, ma'am, we have one question. We have a similar kind of fear that you just mentioned.
Yeah.
Sana Ohasan says they have the fear of unknown about future, and the concern is, will be able to go out again, will be able to get a farewell. That's probably the concern. And I
Yeah.
think what you said pretty much satisfies and justifies the question that was asked.
Yeah. So I also
there is one more person.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
No,
Yeah,
please go ahead.
Yeah, there was one more person, Shalini Bhadwaj. She said that I'm concerned about the children. How will they get their basic needs like studying, playing outside, etc.?
Yeah, that's a challenge. That's a challenge for parents. How to do it? If the children are taking precautions, for example, I send my daughter to play, but she is only cycling and playing badminton. So there is social distancing. She puts a mask and we take all precautions and we are sending. A lot of parents are very anxious. They do not send. It's all right. So if you feel that, you can send your child and your child is mature enough to handle all these things, understands the ramifications of lack of hygiene and everything, then perhaps you can see that what are the different ways in which children can play. They have play dates now. They have Zoom calls. I was like amazed at how every week she has Zoom calls with her school friends because she needs to get in touch with them. And she's just 11-year-old. And I'm sure even younger children are doing that. There are online board games that are available. And my friend sitting in Dehradun and I sitting in Delhi are playing those games together, which we could have never imagined. So all that is happening. So what you're saying is right, that, it's all about that barrier being there in front of us and how we, maneuver our ways around that. So yes, physical sports might not be possible, but I was amazed that even the dance classes and even the basketball classes of my daughters were taking place via Zoom. I was literally amazed. Look at the kind of hope those teachers have. So the children used to get the balls, and they used to practice dribbling, or they used to practice different kind of rotation or movements. I don't know much about it, but they were being taught. There was physical activity involved. Even when they are dancing, there are physical activity involved. So there could be different ways. One example that comes to me is if your child is creative, then channelize that energy into creativity. I never was not doing that earlier. My daughter dances, and I started making videos of her while she's dancing. So she started learning Bhangra, she started learning Gidda, she started learning various folk dances thanks to YouTube. तो YouTube पे tutorials हैं, उसने लगाया, सीखा और perform किया, and then I used to dress her up, we used to record. So it's I'm not saying this is the only answer. You can have other creative answers for the children as well. What we need to do is that this is a time when we need to teach them life skills more than anything else. Unfortunately, our society focuses a lot on academics. अगर एक साल चला भी जाएगा, कुछ नुकसान नहीं होने वाला. It's not going to make a difference. Believe me, once you are 40, 50, you would not even think about that 1 year which was gone. But during this time, rather than pressurizing the child to study, to be on screen, to do the task, to do the project, to read, to do this, to do that, you won't be able to get much out of it. I believe if the child during this time is trained to know that what if a pandemic like this, God forbid, if it occurs again, how do I handle it? How do I deal with it? Am I prepared to deal with it? What are the emotional implications of it? Can I share my emotional problem? Can I talk to my parents about the loneliness that I am feeling, about the problems that I am experiencing, about the kind of fear that I am experiencing when I see at the older people, when I look at the news and all that? So what is important as parents, as teachers, as elder siblings or friends, is to help the children learn about these life skills which nobody else is going to teach us. No, in no class we were taught how to take Zoom classes. And in no class we were taught how to study via Zoom classes or online classes, but we're doing it. So these are the things that we really need to understand. These are the things that we really need to know, how to celebrate birthdays or other things when the people are not actually present. And on a sadder note, even funerals are taking place like that. So we have to learn to make these things a part of a life and see that how to live with it, how to make peace with it. That is what I would like to say.
Shivantika ma'am, I would like to add, I celebrated my birthday in the lockdown, and surprisingly, all of our family, like my birthday, my sister's birthday, my mom, dad's 25th anniversary, all of us, we celebrated it in the lockdown. And
Yeah.
so far we have made 6 cakes, 6 different kinds of cakes.
Yeah.
And now everybody जिसका भी birthday होता है उसको एक अलग तरीके का केक बना के खिलाया जाता है. And we were so fortunate, like all our friends had sent us videos, and they're sending gifts which you won't even expect. People are usually so busy, but this time everybody was on a video call. केक कट रहा है, मम्मी ने खीर बनाई है. वो बचपन वाला टाइम नहीं होता था जब सब लोग आते थे कि ये बर्थडे पे कि क्या खाओगे आज, बताओ तुम्हारा फेवरेट बनेगा. That kind of a thing. That was actually, I spent my birthday with the family after 5 years. And this was so amazing that we get to do this. Usually we won't. And similarly, a lot of the people on the chat has the similar question. Anjana, Shubham, and Jasprit, they say that the fear of career and the fear of uncertainty is what bothers them the most.
All right. Yeah. So I think as we move ahead, a lot of things would be addressed. My whole thing is that we can only do things that are under our control, that we can exercise our influence on. So the question is, what are those things that we can control, right? And the things that we can control, I think the first thing that comes to my mind is preparing a schedule and maintaining a routine. Initial days of lockdown, I didn't have a routine. I was binge watching Netflix series, other series and movies and other things. And I was doing nothing, practically nothing. And then, as kind of restlessness crept in. I was like, what am I doing? And this is not how I'm going to spend my entire week or the following weeks, etc., etc. And then the lockdown got extended. So I think I very strongly believe that we all need to have a schedule. We all need to maintain a routine. I was talking to one of my students, and she said that she cannot study because she is disturbed by her parents very frequently, you know, and then the flow breaks, and then she has to go. And so we need to make certain rules that, you know, from this time to this time I'm available for work, from this time to this time is the study time. Like for example, when we have classes, or when we have any kind of official work, we tell our family that, you know, you have to either have your dinner or lunch or whatever before that. After that, adjust yourself, because I'm not going to be free. So likewise, we have to make that schedule, and in that schedule it's important to include activities. And I've written self-grooming as the first thing, because I realized that when I used to take Zoom classes, everybody used to be like in their pajamas and not even, you know, making their hair and other things, which you would not do if you were going to college. You would take out, you know, open your almirah, choose the best dress up and come. I think, why can't we do that even at home? What makes us think that we only dress up for showing it to people? We can do it for our own selves, right? So I think self-grooming becomes extremely important, because somewhere you feel good. It makes you feel good, right? Activities around studying, activities around household works. We all need to see that what are the things that we need to do. You know, what are the things that was pending for a long time that I needed to do, and I've been able to do that. It should also include eating well, because many of us are not following any routine. So, you know, पहले तो ये था कि lunch होता था and then dinner होता था, या snacks time होता था, या मम्मा टिफिन बना के देती थी, या whatever it is. It's completely disrupted. So भूख लगी, अचानक से फ्रिज खोला, जो भी मिला खा लिया, you know, आइसक्रीम खा लिया या कुछ और खा लिया. So we have to see that it's healthy eating, that we are not just eating whatever we feel like, or something which is not healthy. We have to take care of that as well. Exercise, again, a very important part, because you know, if you have to stay in a positive framework, I believe cycling, walking, doing yoga, dancing, anything that you really like doing in terms of activity, you need to do that. Sleep is very important, and I'm sure you would have watched a lot of videos around that we have to maintain the sleep hygiene. I think two things that I would like to mention for the sleep is that don't take your phone to your bedroom. I'm sure all of us would be doing that, but try not to look at your phone or not to take your phone in the bedroom. Keep it away, because your mind makes a connection between, you know, between the bedroom and sleep and phone. And if there is phone, there is a lot of stimulation, and there's a lot of stimulation and mental activity. It would take time for you to wind down and sleep. Second, if you're working,
Shivantika ma'am's video is stuck. We just need to check for a minute.
Yes, I think I am just doing that. Yeah, screen sharing also stopped.
all right, I just share the screen again.
Yeah, she's here.
Yes, she's back.
All right. Yeah. So I was talking about sleep, and I was saying that if you're working or if you're studying or whatever you're doing, I think you need to create a space for that. Don't take your work. Again, our mind makes connection with, so the connection of bed is with work and not with sleep. And that is why when you go to your bed, you would take time to sleep, because your mind is active. So there are certain things that we need to follow, and if we organize our lives in these ways, this small structure also, and particularly I'm expecting this from people who are already having mental health issues like anxiety or some degree of depression or whatever it was. It's important to have some structure in the day. It's important to have that sense of consistency in our life, because that is one thing that we can do to have some control over our life. So okay, fine, I do my task, I have this particular goal, I would be able to complete this chapter, I have to write this particular paper, I'll be able to write this paper. So whatever it is, create small goals for yourself, make a schedule, make a routine, and follow it. Just a second. Okay, then I think the other thing that I wanted to talk about is the balance of the online and offline engagements. What can be done offline should not be done online. That's my basic premise. So if you're reading book, please read books. Please don't be on your phone. If you are, For chatting, for web call, for video calls, I'm sure you would have to use technology. But for other things, you don't. If you don't have to use technology, don't use technology. So on one hand, you need to make use of your online resources. As I told you, hold parties, Zoom parties, Netflix parties, watch movies together. You can access the telehealth services. There are so many free of cost telehealth services that are being offered, e-counseling being offered. If you want to access that, access that. You can have virtual meeting with families, with relatives, and make optimal use of the online resources, but also find time to look within, also find time to meditate, also find time to be mindful, also find time to write your journals. Also, you find time to practice gratitude. I'm sure you would have heard all these things, but believe me, once you start doing it, one small thing like practicing gratitude makes a huge impact. I started practicing yoga and meditation these days, and believe me, it has made a lot of difference in my life. So these small things which you feel actually is not going to make a difference does make a difference. A lot of us engage in hobbies, recreational activities. They sing, they dance, they do craft work. Write letters to your near and dear ones. Send it to them. Make something for them and send it to them. What a beautiful way of rather than writing WhatsApp messages. Wouldn't it be nice to write a long letter to them, telling them all that you feel and post it to them? And when they receive it, they'll be so happy. I'm sure they would not touch it immediately. 3-4 दिन बाद ही छुएंगे, but whatever. So you need to find all those things. And managing disappointments is another thing that I would like to mention. Again, as I already told you, a lot of ceremonies have been postponed, or farewells have been cancelled, or get-togethers aren't happening. But we need to manage ways or look at ways, as Arushi rightly said, that they all learn to bake different kinds of cakes for different occasions. Wow, what a wonderful way of celebrating birthdays or anniversaries, right? We need to reframe things in new ways. And as she reframed it, like we used to do it in childhood, जैसे बचपन में करते थे, this is reframing. I'm not cribbing that I'm not able to spend my birthday with my friends or with my boyfriend or with my dear and near ones. I'm not dining out, or I'm not throwing a grand party and wearing a nice dress and getting pictures clicked, etc., etc. I'm not doing that. I'm spending that day with my friends and my family members who are staying with me, and they're cooking for me. They are making things for me. Maybe someone is singing for me, someone is writing something for me. So there could be different ways of reframing your disappointment. So rather than making a disappointment, you actually make it a kind of joy, or you find some degree of hope and positivity in it. So we need to realize all these things. I'm rushing because I know I'm crossing time. Then I think one thing which is extremely important is to connect creatively. And here I would like to show you a video. Just a second. It's just a 2-minute video. How to connect to people creatively. Just a second. Where will I find it?
Till then, we can probably share some beautiful ideas that we have on the chat.
Yes.
Yeah, so we have somebody. I think Vaishali was saying that she's doing mandala and artwork for doodling to pass her time. Sonal Joshi said she's dancing, and all of these are very really beautiful things that people are doing and suggesting on the chat itself.
Okay. Just a second. I don't know why I can't. Sorry for this interruption. I'll just...
Wow, Sonal says she's working on her dancing skills and learning various forms, which is great.
Wow. Yes. All right, maybe you've seen this video. This is about how a teacher drove to her students' homes after schools closed due to pandemic. Right? Just see how beautiful, what a beautiful experience it was. Have I shared the... Can you listen?
Yay! How are you?
I'm good.
Did you miss me?
Yes.
Yes, I missed you too, and I can't see you at school, so I came to see you here. We,
as educators, had to completely turn everything around overnight and within a few hours and figure out how to teach our students remotely. I've been FaceTiming with my students every day doing our lessons, and one of my students was upset and asked, could he see me and could I come over to his house? So I thought, okay, how can I adapt to the situation that's going on around us and accommodate his needs still? And I just thought it's still practicing social distancing from my car to his porch.
She was fun, and I liked her face, and I like when she put her "I miss you" style with all the hearts.
It's awesome because the kids don't fully understand the ramifications of why they're having to stay at home. So for her to get to see her teacher gives her comfort. It makes her happy and excited. And so it was great. I thought it was an awesome idea.
Yeah, air hug. Air high five. Air fist bump.
That I think I needed it just as much as they did. It's been a little stressful as far as an educator trying to get everything together and to make sure that we are still passing on the knowledge that our students need. But seeing them and knowing they're okay and seeing how happy they are, it really made my day.
I know, I wish we could go back to school too.
She pretty much seemed like you. It was just you. Just the way she was smiling and talking. And we have a great compliment for you. Somebody says, Vaishali is saying that she started admiring you, the way you speak and smile, so pleased and so pleasing and fresh.
Thank you.
All the love showering for you, ma'am.
All right.
And
So we were
somebody also mentioned that they really like the presentation.
Okay, thank you. My friend has helped me making this presentation, so I would acknowledge her contribution. Her name is Shrestha Malhotra. Many of you would be knowing her. She helped me with the slides and beautification part of it, as well as some portions of the content. So communicating your worries, I think it's extremely important to communicate where we are coming from. Somebody mentioned that, somebody mentioned anger. If I remember correctly in the beginning, that,
Yes.
I'm not able to socialize and I feel angry about it. Now, at times we are angry and we show that anger in the house, and then it is not seen as something which is obviously nice and good and healthy. And then we are criticized, and then there's sort of, we shout, the other person shouts back, the entire atmosphere is negative. What is important is to communicate from where is my anger coming? What is my real worry? It's frustration. It's inability to meet my friends. It's inability to meet the basic need that I have of connecting to people, right? So that is the reason we need to communicate from where we are coming from. That's extremely important, particularly when we're staying in families with parents. We are not used to staying with them. A lot of us are not used to staying 24/7 with our families. We need our space. We need our, room or that kind of alone time. We are not getting, because not many of us would have the luxury of having separate rooms for each one of us. So all that. So it is important that you communicate what is happening with you. You communicate your worries. You communicate where you're coming from. You talk to people. You share the load. I think it's a tagline for some advertisement, but I think it's very important to share the load. Seek social support. Actively seek support. Actively seek support in the sense that we all feel that we all are troubled, that I'm the only one who's not able to do this. Believe me, each one of us. So when I was binge watching the Netflix series, I had guilt, so much of guilt. And then suddenly this mail comes from the college that we have to give an account of the online teaching and learning that has taken place. And I was like, oh my God, I didn't do anything. I was just binge watching these things for the entire week. What am I going to write? And I just shared it on my WhatsApp group with my colleagues, and they all said, we all have done the same thing. Don't worry, we'll make something up. So, this is how you feel lightened when you just talk to others and share to others and know that all are in the same boat. So it's also important to talk to people you look up to. Why? Because they might be practicing certain strategies that you find useful, right? We recently went on a juice fast. I think I'm revealing a lot about myself, but recently there was a 3-day juice fast. And one of my friends is into yoga and meditation and all that. She's like, we call her Baba, the Guruji. So, she influences and motivates us a lot. And she said that we are going for this juice fast. So this juice fast was all about juicing the vegetables and very little fruits. And for 3 consecutive days, we did not eat anything. We did not drink anything. We were only on juice. Now, why I'm telling is this is important is that I never thought that I could leave my food, because during this time, food is something that I really look forward to. But to say that this food is being taken away from you was a test of my control, was a test of my discipline, was a test of my power to, to go within and try to see that what is healthy and what is not healthy for me. So, I talked to her, I got to know about the juice fast, I got into it. So it's like that. When you talk to people you look up to, you would get so many strategies that they are using that, and you might find it useful and you might want to apply it in your life. So it's important to talk and connect. It's important to turn your web camera on. I request all of you, whenever you are there in any Zoom meeting or Skype meeting or anything of that sort, put your web camera on, because that makes you feel connected. It's important that you feel that there is somebody who's talking to you and that you are talking back to someone. And you won't feel isolated. So these are certain things that are extremely important. And I know there are so many creative ways of actually communicating whatever we want to create and connect to people in different ways we want to connect. Another problem that we all are facing is the finding ways to focus. Now, these are unprecedented times. There would be concentration problems. There is no quick fix solution. There is no magical answer. As I told you already, we were not trained for online learning. We were not trained for online exams. We were not trained for everything online. We have to do this. We might not do this too well. Don't be harsh on yourself. Don't judge yourself. Do the best you can. And it's important that you keep your emotional reserves with you. It's important that you keep your positive and strengths and resilience with you. And with your family members, if they are distracting you, make use of I statements. I hope some of you know about the I statements, but just to summarize what I statements are ways of telling things that are disturbing you, are not very good, but about the other person, and you want to communicate it to the other person, but you don't do it directly. You don't say that you're the disturbing element in the family. You keep disrupting me. This comes as a lot of blame gaming. The other person becomes very defensive, and a lot of times it takes the form of conflict. It's important that you say that, when you all the time keep coming in this room, I really get distracted, and I feel that I take a lot of energy and time in coming back, gathering myself and coming back to the work I was doing. So this is the I statement, where you are framing how you are feeling rather than saying you are making me do this. But you're just taking the behavior of the person and saying that I feel in this way. So it's important to understand that how we can communicate these things and finding ways to focus. There are a lot of different ways in which we can create a focus. A lot of us say that we prepare a schedule, we prepare a timetable, and we stick to it, right? Or then we find ways of reinforcing ourselves. Like, for example, I stick to my timetable, I completed my study, and then I go and have ice cream. Or then I go and talk to my friend on phone, or then I go and have a nap, or I watch a series or serial or whatever it was. So that is how we all can, because we all are adults, we all are mature. We have to find our own ways to focus, but just don't be too harsh and too judgmental on yourself. If you're not able to focus, just keep trying. It would happen. आज नहीं होगा, कल होगा, कल नहीं होगा, परसों होगा. आज 5 मिनट के लिए लगेगा ध्यान, कल 10 मिनट के लिए लगेगा. Important ये है कि आप try करते रहें consistently. As Shivangi rightly said in the beginning, it has taught her patience. So you have to be very patient with your own self, right? Now, limit your media consumption. Now, again, a very small activity for you. Maybe you have done this before. So just make your fingers like this and keep your fingers on your chin, right? Just do it, just like this. Yeah, like this, and keep it on your chin. Like this, do it. No, not like this, not like this, Arushi. See, it's like this, and you keep it on your chin. Can you hear me? All of you, have you done that? Shubhangi, can you tell me if others have done this? Do this, and keep it on your chin.
Is this how you saying us to do it? Okay, let me try with the other hand maybe.
Yeah. This.
Okay,
Put it on your.
Ayushi is doing it right. Now I can see it right.
Just do this and put it on your chin. It's okay. This. All right. How many of you have done this? Did you see what I was saying?
Yeah.
Just do this
And keep it on your
and
chin.
put it chin.
Right.
Is this chin?
No, but that's what I was confused about.
Exactly what the media is doing to us. They will show us things in such a manner that we will only look at the visuals. We don't go beyond visuals, right? What is important is that we need to see that whether the news source is actually reputable and reliable, right? We have to see that if we are informed, we have to be informed through the right resources and through the right sources, through the credible people. So there is ICMR website, there is WHO website. There are so many other websites which are very, very authentic about Corona news and other things. So don't be the student of WhatsApp University, because WhatsApp University will keep telling us gyans all the time. ये काढ़ा बना के पीजिए, ये वाला दवाई ले लीजिए, वो कर लीजिए, आप एकदम सब कुछ ठीक हो जाएगा. You don't have to rely on rumors. You don't have to rely on things that are not. You're not sure the information that are not credible. And it is also important to balance positive and negative news. I have seen people in my own family consuming negative news so much that they had difficulty falling asleep, that they could not focus on anything else, that they were so overwhelmed with anxiety because they were thinking about the problem that is rising. अच्छा यहाँ पे भी केस हो गया, वहाँ पे भी केस हो गया, ये भी हो गया, वो भी हो गया, क्या करें? So we have to balance the positive and negative news. So the positive news could be that pollution is down, maybe, for example. Or for that matter, we hear birds chirping all around. Wow, such a beautiful thing to listen to wake up to. Or there could be other positive things, that these many people have recovered. Like these many people are actually, how the doctors and other healthcare systems are working really hard to take care of people. How the community is reaching out to people, all that is extremely important. So that is another thing that we need to do. We need to limit. So you have to set, don't read the news the first thing in the morning. हमें हैबिट में यही सिखाया जाता है, सुबह सुबह अखबार पढ़ लो. अखबार तो अब आता नहीं है, तो लोग व्हाट्सएप पे या ऑनलाइन न्यूज पढ़ना शुरू करते हैं. प्लीज सुबह सुबह मत कीजिए. Give the morning time to yourself, to relaxing, to breathing, to meditating, to be grateful, to writing, to do something that you really like to do, right? Rather than just consuming news and different kinds of news that is happening. Then mindful relationship with smartphones. I've already touched this topic, but it's important to put boundary to the mobile phones. And I say boundary, keep it away. How many of us can keep it away for a long period of time? I know we all used to be worried about smartphone addictions, internet addictions, social media addictions, and now there's no way out but to be addicted. But I would say not be addicted, but to use it mindfully, right? So stay away from it for some time. Make your time that this is my time and I'm not going to be with my phone or with my gadget or with anything. I need to have that personal conversation with my sister, with my parents, with my friend, with my neighbor, whoever I can talk to, right? So I have already told you these points. So it's important that we create some boundaries around the smartphone, because smartphone is boundaryless. We'll have our TV, we'll have our news, we'll have our notes, we'll have our readings, we'll have our connections, everything in one place, and we are glued to that. It makes us lethargic. It makes us all the time stimulated by the light and the colors, and therefore we feel bored otherwise. So it's important that you give yourself time to be away from that, right? And I think this is the last thing that I would like to say, that be helpful to others. It's extremely important. We all have been bestowed with new roles. झाड़ू पोछा लगाना है, बर्तन भी धोना है, खाना भी बनाना है, लॉन्ड्री भी करना है, आयनिंग भी करनी है, पढ़ाई भी करना है, काउंसिल भी करना है. अगर साइकोलॉजी में है तो बहुत लोग को प्रॉब्लम हो रही है. सब लोग मतलब पूछते हैं कि क्या करें, कैसे करें. तो बहुत कुछ करना है. You have to be responsible. You have to be mature, and you have to reach out to people. You have to be emotionally stable and all that. We have taken up multiple roles. We have to teach our children, or if you're their younger siblings who are not able to go to tuitions or not able to go to school, you're helping them with their education, their classwork, their homework. So new roles have come to us. Now, this is an opportunity where we can say that, oh, this is just too much, I can't take it. Or this is the way of saying that, yes, this is a time when I can really give this space for others to be grateful, right? They can give this space to others to make memories. Like, for example, if I'm tending to an elderly grandparent, I'm sure a lot of us would not get this opportunity had the lockdown not been there. But this is the time when I can sit with them and I can take care of them and I can talk to them about their times and I can listen to their stories, share my stories, try to bring connections with them and make beautiful memories, right? So it's also important to take these, and this is exactly what reframing means. We are reframing everything. So it's not an added responsibility or a burden. We are taking it as an opportunity for creating memories, an opportunity to give others space to be grateful, to know about us, to learn about us. And always remember that if it is a transition period for you, it is a transition period for others as well. So if as a grown-up you are transitioning, the children are also transitioning, the senior people are also transitioning. The married people are also transitioning, the single people are also transitioning. So everybody is transitioning. So we have to be more empathetic. We'll have to be more compassionate towards the others. And it's important that before reaching out, we actually take our emotions under control and then reach out to people. Now, before winding up, I think this is all right. Yeah, this I'll take up later. I think I want to show another video. Do we have time, or shall I wind up?
Yes, ma'am. We asked people that can we extend the session, and there are suggestions that surely we can, and they're loving it, and so we
Okay,
can.
thank you. So this is okay, fine. So I'll just share another video where I'm sure again you would have seen this video of. Now it's difficult for me to find the video. I don't know why. Yeah, this is the one. Share.
Well, in these rough times, it's nice to hear about someone or some dog doing some good. 11 News reporter Megan Highland has the story of a pup with a purpose.
Sunny the Golden Retriever lives with his owner, Karen Eveleth, in Manitou Springs. They've been neighbors with Renee Hellman for over a decade. And when she self-quarantined for her own health, the two thought of a clever way to help her get her groceries.
Bring it along, good boy.
That's Sunny, the 7-year-old Golden Retriever turned delivery dog.
She got the list. She gave it to Sunny. Sunny brought it to me. I went to the store, got her the groceries, and he delivered them all to her.
He's been making trips back and forth from his house to his neighbors since the coronavirus outbreak started weeks ago.
What a wonderful thing. Just a sweet thing. So we started doing the schlepping back and forth. And it's been fun. It's been a real treat.
Who's a good boy?
Hellman has some underlying health issues and relies on oxygen to breathe. She says getting food and visits from the pup makes those days a little more bearable.
Little things like Sunny coming over to visit is nice, and it makes you feel good. And it's a way of communicating.
Anybody can do something so small that could be so helpful.
Sunny also gets mail for his owner and even picks up trash when they go on walks. Eveleth says that she hopes sharing this story will make people smile.
I'm sure it all made us smile. So this was just a small clipping of how a Golden Retriever has been trained to help the neighbors, and particularly one of the neighbors who is having some pre-existing health conditions, and she can't go out for getting groceries and other things, and the dog does it for her. And if you heard it, what she said, that it is nice to have someone visit you and connect to you and communicate to you. And even the owner of the dog said that very small little thing that we can do for others, which can actually make a difference. So I think this is all that we can do. It's something which I think is within the control of each one of us, that how we can do things that can be helpful to others. Even just asking the other person how you are doing, or if you need something. It doesn't happen so much in Delhi, but I belong to a small town and my parents stay alone, and every day they receive phone calls from people. They are neighbors who come and ask, what do you want? Shall we get you vegetables? Shall we get groceries for you, medicines for you? So it's so nice to have people come over and extend their support and help. It makes you feel good, right? So the last thing that I wanted to address, and I think is the most important thing for all of you right now, that is coping with the career challenges. And I was thinking about it, I was reading also, and many of the places where I read up, one thing that I commonly found was upskill. They always saying that this is the time when you need to learn new skills, particularly digital skills. So no matter from which discipline you belong to, particularly, for example, if we are psychologists, so we need to understand that how through online counseling can be done, how through chat counseling can be done, or therapy can be offered, or what can be different ways of reaching out to people, etc., etc. Sign up as a volunteer, extremely important, because maybe we won't expect that internships are going to happen. Paid internships are going to happen because people are losing jobs any which way. So we can volunteer our services to the organizations and we can learn through that. So that is another way. And we need to understand that there are so many areas that are really blossoming and doing well, like, for example, online sales, customer support, online education, digital marketing, counseling, writing, teaching, design, coding, etc., etc. So I believe the audience comprises of people from different disciplines. So you need to see that what is your area where you can go, which skill that you can hone, go for that, enroll there, do learn something for 6 months, 1 year, upgrade your skills, because that's something extremely important. You need to build your CV very well. Apart from that, many of us are already doing that. Online courses, don't do it from anywhere or everywhere. Just do it from credible sources. Lot of online courses are being offered via MOOCs and SWAYAM platform and TIS and IITs. They all are offering good courses. You can do that. There are online internships that are available. You can do that. Improve your presence online. A lot of us who are only posting about, just personal things on the social media or other things, I think we also need to create a professional presence online. So that is important. So improve your online presence, stay connected with people, write to people, talk to people about your ideas. Like, for example, if you have research ideas and somebody is working in that area, mail your CV to that person, write your mail to that person, share your ideas, tell that person what all can you do, because this is the time when we all need to be connected and you never know which collaboration works for you, right? A lot of people also suggest that you, rather than going for jobs straight away, take this year as a year where you could do some additional certification course or degree course, so that it defers your entry into the job market, because the job market right now is not very good. So if you do a course for 1 year or 2 years, for example, if you've done bachelor's, go for a master's course rather than going for a job, because within these 2 years, the economy might get better and you might have better opportunities. So that is another thing that I would like to say. And be flexible, create multiple pathways. Why it is important? Because as I told you earlier, it's important to embrace the chaos. And in this chaos, we always need to have plan B. If this doesn't work, what is the other thing that I need to have as my other plan or other option in my life? Because I cannot make plans. I made plans in a secure world, but now it is a pandemic world. And those rules do not work in the pandemic world. So in the pandemic world, I have to be flexible. I have to have backup plans. I have to say that if I need to do a job, I need to do the job that I'm getting, rather than trying to say that I need to do this job only. So job first, choice later. You might have to negotiate with your salaries also, because we all are expecting, cut downs in the salaries. We all are expecting layoffs. We all are expecting a lot of transformation in the field of work. So I think be braced and prepared for all these things. And I said, learn to manage the disappointments. Take it as something which is coming along with so many other things in your life. And if we have been able to do things well in the past, I'm sure you'll be able to do things well even now, right? So I think I would like to end here. And these are some things that I found that I think I want to say to myself, that it's okay to not be okay. It is just that we need to be mindful about what we are not okay. And not all things can be done perfectly. All of us suffer from this perfectionism problem. In this time, you can't do things perfectly because there are so many things to do. So just keep doing and don't focus on doing things extremely well or completely 100%, because perhaps we won't be able to do it right now. Don't judge yourself. Don't be harsh on yourself, and find humor, creativity, and opportunities in the challenges. Overall, do whatever works for you. So this is how I would like to end. If you have any question, you can ask me.
Yes, ma'am. We have so many questions, but I think half of them are, as you said, if you go through the slide, so much is clear to them. We can still take a few. I think. Okay, so the last one we got is Nishita Srivastav. She says, in the current scenario, the safety needs are compromised. How can we move ahead to fulfilling our self-esteem needs and achieve more?
All right. Nishita, I believe you're talking with reference to the Maslow's hierarchy theory. Because you're saying that our safety needs are not met, how can we meet the esteem needs? And we all know that we have so much criticisms for the Maslow's theory also. It is not necessary that we need to fulfill all the needs completely and then only we can move beyond that. We can have some part of the security need met, and then some part of the relationship needs met, and some part of the esteem needs met. And we also know that all these are linked to each other. So the security and safety also comes from relationship with others. The security and safety also comes from, and I feel secure within myself, and for that I need my self-esteem. So I would say that you can find ways through which you can reaffirm your self-esteem. And when you reaffirm your self-esteem, you'll feel all the more secure. You'll feel all the more safe. You will feel all the more founded, grounded, and rooted. And that is going to help you have that sense of safety and security. I would link your question to Erickson's theory of development, where he talks about that how trust versus mistrust is going to lead to your identity versus identity confusion, right? So it's all building up. So I need to, if I build up, maybe, for example, I have that basic trust that I'm going to be all right, things are going to be all right, things are going to change, but we can adapt to these things. We can learn, we can grow, we can, do whatever we can do to the best of our abilities in the most creative ways possible, show that what does it really mean to be human. I think you will be able to create that sense of not just esteem, but also security and safety and relatedness and connectedness of all these things. Because we know in life, we don't live in compartments. So right now, my self-esteem is also getting somewhere boosted when you're saying that, participants have allowed the seminar to go on. At the same time, I feel connected to all of you because most of you I know already, right? So I have that sense of connection that, I can talk to those people. So my safety need, my relatedness needs, my esteem needs, all are getting met at the same time.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am. I think that is definitely what Nishtha wanted to listen to. And if we can take up the
procrastination, I believe a lot of people ask about
a lot of
procrastination.
people. I think a lot of them are.
Have any answer listening to whatever Gyan I gave today? Based on that, does anyone have any answer about procrastination thing?
Let's wait for their answers till then, because it's surprising there are a lot of people who are asking about how do we I see it's a general problem.
Procrastination happens when you are not so well motivated for the work that you want to do. When it becomes a task rather than something that you're really passionate about. We don't procrastinate if we have to talk to our friend. We don't procrastinate if we have to, do something that you really want to do, want to watch a movie which we have been waiting to watch, right? So it's about creating that sense of connection with the work that you're doing. And I hope that most of us choose to do or work in the areas which are extension of our own selves, where we find a lot of meaning. So we have to see that how we can make the task or work that we have to do more meaningful. So, if I know if you're a student, a lot of times you really don't have much choices with respect to the assignments that has been given to you. But, we all can find maybe some ways where we can get a sense of some meaning and purpose in doing that assignment. Doing that assignment or that task helping me become a good psychologist or become a good person or helps me closer to my goal. So I think we also need to create the kind of a plan about our lives now, since the situation has changed. We have to rework all our plans and we have to see that how things are now fitting into the new scheme of things. And that has to be very flexible and fluid because we don't know how things are going to change, right? Like for example, since the lockdown is continuing and we want to do a lot of things, I was thinking that why not we design a particular course where we can tell people how to deal with these situations, right? Some very hands-on training programs for these students, from some very hands-on, first aid, psychological first aid programs, for example. So, you can think about those things. So there are certain things that are givens and that we have to do. So the only thing is that we need to find that strand of connection or motivation or passion so that we get energized to do that particular thing. So I think if you do that task in groups, I'm sure everybody gets assignment, and this is a task which has been given to the entire class. If you can connect to people, collaboration gives you a lot of synergy, a lot of energy to work on a particular problem. So I think that way also you can handle procrastination. Otherwise, if you are a very structured person, if you can make a timetable and write down things to do, and then you put a tick mark and feel good about doing it, you can do that. Perhaps that is also going to help. You can try certain behavioral techniques like, omission training or punishments or negative reinforcement and all those things on yourself, so that you are not procrastinating but are actually doing what you have to do.
Okay, so I would first of all like to thank you, ma'am, for being a part of this webinar. It was great to have you today, and we actually wanted to address this topic on student well-being for a long time, and it could be no one better than you to do this, and I could say this from my personal experience. We all have been fortunate today to gain knowledge in terms of how some crucial elements of our life need to be integrated, whether it's acceptance or persistence to go through this time. So thank you for providing us with these coping mechanisms. And this webinar has definitely brought in us a more positive perspective to accept this phase of our life. At the end, I would just like to thank you for your valuable time and for making this webinar so intriguing and informative for each one of us. Thank you.
Thank you for having us, Shivangi. It was glad to be a part of Hope Cure.
And I would like to thank everybody. Thank you, everybody, for joining in. Thank you, ma'am, for such an insightful session. We are truly glad that we had you for this webinar, and it was the perfect match for the webinar topic and you. And it couldn't have been better. So the announcements that I was talking about are that your links for the feedback will be available on the same URLs that you have after 7 p.m. You will have to go there, put in your feedback, and everybody will receive their certificates with their names on the URLs and the certificates. So that will be it. After 7 p.m., I'm repeating myself, after 7 p.m, the link will be open, the same link that you have, that you're on now on the live chat. There will be a button of feedback. Share your feedback. You will share your feedback. We will share it with ma'am, all the feedbacks that come to us. Yes. And after that, there is a click get certificate button where you can get your certificate, and that will be on your mail. So you will get the certificate on your mail when you click the get certificate button after the successful submission of your feedback after 7 p.m. So I thank you, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. I, on the behalf of the whole Hope Cure team, me, Shubhangi, Arushi, Shivangi, Siddhant, Ashwini, Abhimanyu, Ayushi,
Anamika, Bhavika, anybody who's left, sorry from our
Ayushi,
side.
Nandini, everybody. Thank you, everybody. for
Shivantika
making
ma'am, thank you so much again. Thank you so much. We already have so much of showering for you, and
we will be surely giving it to you. We will
yes,
be sharing the
we'll be
feedback.
sharing the feedback, and also everybody who's watching these, please let us know if you want us to give any suggestion for upcoming webinars, or what you want to see, or if you want Shivantika ma'am again, and what do you want her to speak about. So we can definitely do that. Please leave us with your suggestions on the feedback form.
And we're glad to have
Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, ma'am.